What's your favorite part of being a student at CNU? I remember being a new student at orientation and being struck by the feeling that I was finally in control of my own life. College is where students get to start a band, play sports, do service projects, go out of the country, engage in political activism, or have sex. However, in order to do so safely, they require access to emergency contraceptives and condoms. Christopher Newport University is the only public university in the state to not offer these resources on campus.
Why do you say it's called the Young Democratic Socialists of America? It's basically a club of people who are trying to enact change here at CNU. Right now we're working on getting access to free or reduced cost Plan B.
Our current campaign is we're trying to get free and accessible Plan B on campus. We've been running this campaign for about a year. CNU is one of the worst universities in the state for providing reproductive health care. We're one of the only ones that don't provide any Plan B to students. We don't have accessible condoms, which is only provided in the Health and Wellness Center, which is only accessible 8 to 5 Monday through Friday.
This is an issue that matters for a few reasons. A lot of disabled students simply can't get across the street to different pharmacies. Plan B is expensive, and not a lot of students have access to those kinds of funds with the immediacy that is required.
We are really looking to bring CNU up to the standards of every other university in the state. So that's going to include providing free and accessible Plan B in different offices and in vending machines, as well as condoms in residence halls, bring back feminine hygiene products. We're going to keep talking with university administrators and trying to get their attention until they give in.
The problem that the campaign is trying to address primarily boils down to the lack of access to reproductive health care for students. That can look like not having access to infographics about STDs or STIs, or how to properly use different types of condoms, like female condoms versus male condoms. Or it can look like something like not having access to Plan B. The campaign has involved a few different steps. We've done button making, we've done a petition, which we were later told didn't actually demonstrate any need, despite almost 500 signatures, I think it was. We hosted a town hall in conjunction with the AAUP, and I know I presented a speech there.
I've been pretty involved from the start of the campaign when it comes to doing a lot of the preliminary research, reaching out to different schools to see what reproductive health care they provide and what reproductive health care CNU provides, and then be able to meet with university administrators. We tried to meet with President Kelly during his office hours. We were shut out from that, so we talked with his deputy chief of staff, who took note of our concerns but didn't do much with it. But from that, we were able to set up meetings with Brian Larson from Student Affairs and Bill Ritchie from the Health and Wellness Center. The
meetings that we've had with the university administration have been relatively derogatory, in my opinion. We haven't been taken totally seriously as a student organization. We were also told pretty much directly to our faces that because we're students, we couldn't even read something as simple as a graph or a chart from a fairly easy to read and understand national government survey.
Initially, when we talked with them at our first meeting, they agreed it was a problem. We set up a follow-up meeting about a month later to talk about progress. Only thing they did was move a bowl of condoms in the Health and Wellness Center from behind the counter into the lobby. In that meeting, they also weren't working in good faith when we were trying to come up with solutions on being able to improve student safety. They were stalling the conversation and telling us we need to talk to a lawyer, for example, because we were handing out Plan B. Despite Plan B having very little side effects, the same amount of side effects about as like a Tylenol.
In this day and age, with our reproductive political landscape, it's not always a guarantee that you'll have access to something that can fix a simple mistake. And really, we live here, we eat here, we have sex with people here. I mean, I go to therapy here, I go to the health clinic here, I study here, I'm literally mapping out the rest of my life here. And yet my school can't provide a vending machine from a third party where the school barely pays for anything. It just doesn't sit right with me. The most important event that we have coming up is the Rally for Your Rights. It's on April 17th at 4 p.m. That's a Friday. What it is, we're gonna have lawn games, we're gonna have ice cream, we're gonna have various student organizations speaking, and it's gonna be about showing up and telling the university that, hey, this is something I care about, this is something I want done. Because we were told directly to our faces that a 500-person petition didn't actually demonstrate anything to the university.
What can you do to help solve these problems? In addition to fighting for free Plan B, broader reforms to the university are necessary in order to ensure a shift in the balance of power towards students, to enable us to organize for our rights. The commercialization of higher education since the 1970s has led to a shift in the priorities such that the university is expected to turn a profit, and the president comes to approximate the form of a corporate CEO, Brian Larson is part of the Department of Student Affairs at CNU. Ferguson, a researcher at Yale University, discusses the origin of this type of department in the 1960s when universities were seeking to curb student organizing, especially that of black students fighting to get rid of racism. According to Ferguson, this was accomplished with what was called the ombudsman method, wherein universities, quote, intended from the beginning to use the ombudsman's seeming autonomy and racial identity as resources for, rather than hindrances to, the administration's efforts to manage activism and conflict. The ombudsman method worked by turning collective problems into individual ones. Student affairs departments would tell collective bodies of students that all of their frustrations about racism or other problems on campus were really attributable to individual grievances. The only reason they have to go to such lengths to curb student organizing is because that they know when we collectively bargain for what we deserve, we get it.
Currently, some of the biggest restrictions on speech come down to the capitalist system that we live in. Unless you're the one that is making the university money or making the decisions up top, they don't care about your input. For students, it definitely feels like we're just seen as a product rather than an actual part of this institution.
The purpose of student organizing is to communicate a want or a need from the student body. It's a reminder, hey, we pay to go here, so we should have some say in how this institution is run. CNU isn't paying us, we're paying them. I think that there needs to be designated space for student organizations to bring concerns and to have actual, honest, even discussion with CNU administration. I know that YDSA tried going to President Kelly's office hours, and we were pretty much turned away. We're getting told that what we want and what we need and what we're talking to the administration about just isn't a priority for them. I'm not just gonna sit back and let you treat me this way. No one is.